Hello and welcome to English Literature. Today's chapter is chapter 9 from the book Footprints Without Feet. And today's chapter is The Book That Saved the Earth by Claire Boiko. It's time to know about the author. Without a creator, there's no creation. Claire Taylor Boiko. She is a playwright. She writes plays. Famous for all those plays. She was born on May 17, 1925 in Wellesley, Massachusetts. She died peacefully on Friday, April 12, 2019 at the age of 93 in Oceanside, California. She was American. Claire gave life to her passion for literature in her career as a children's playwright. She penned more than 70 plays for Plays magazine. Books, some of her famous books are children's plays for creative actors, dramatized parodies of familiar stories, The Cry-Baby Princess, a play, My Hero, a play. She writes plays for children. This is all about the author. Before going deep in the chapter, it's time for the introduction. The Book That Saved the Earth by Claire Boiko is a science fiction that depicts the Martian failed invasion of Earth in 2040. While the story is fictional and set in the 20th century, the actual publication date of this story, a humorous play, is in the year 1999. So it is not a real story, not based on facts. It's a fiction, a piece of imagination. The Book That Saved the Earth. It's by Claire Boiko, and it presents the Martians' failed invasion of Earth in the year 2040. So it's predictability of the future. And the original publication date of this short, humorous, funny play is 1999. It's time for the theme or the central idea of the story. The primary theme of The Book That Saved the Earth is that misinterpretations and half-truths can lead to significant misunderstandings and conflicts, particularly when dealing with unfamiliar cultures or information. That is, a little learning is a dangerous thing. The story also focuses on the power of books and imagination. The power of books and imagination is shown in the play, where it uses humor to illustrate how the Martians' misinterpretation of a simple book of nursery rhymes nearly led to an invasion of Earth, highlighting the dangers of jumping to conclusions without proper understanding. So, incomplete knowledge is very dangerous. Misinterpretation and half-truth is always dangerous. The characters that we come across in the play are historian, Lieutenant Iota, great and mighty think tank, Sergeant Oop, apprentice Noodle, Captain Omega, and an offstage voice. It is one which you can hear, but you cannot see who the speaker is. So the characters that you can find on stage are historian, Lieutenant Iota, great and mighty think tank, Sergeant Oop, apprentice Noodle, and Captain Omega. So let's have The Book That Saved the Earth by Claire Boiko. Scene 1. It's a play. It's on a stage as the curtain rises. The time is 25th century. The place is the Museum of Ancient History, Department of the 20th century on the planet Earth. Before rise, spotlight shines on historian, who is sitting at a table down right, on which is a movie projector. A sign on an easel beside her reads. So when the curtain rises, you can see a historian sitting to a right corner on a table. There's a movie projector, and His, a sign on the easel beside her reads. There's a sign which reads Museum of Ancient History, Department of the 20th Century. Now, easel is a frame for supporting an artist work. You can say it is a wooden frame that holds a picture while it is being painted. So on that it is written, there's no picture but something is written. What is it written? Museum of Ancient History, Department of the 20th Century. Now she stands and bows to audience. So who introduces? Historian is the first person that we see on stage. She stands, greets the audience. The historian speaks. Good afternoon. Welcome to our Museum of Ancient History and to my department. Curiosities of the good old far off 20th century. The 20th century was often called the era of the book. So the 20th century was also called the era of the book. In those days, there were books about everything, from anteaters to Zulus. Books taught people how to and when to and where to and why to. They illustrated, educated, punctuated and even decorated. But the strangest thing a book ever did was to save the earth. The historian says that or introduces us to the 20th century, and she says that it is often called the era of the book. So book was everything in that century. Book had solutions to every problem. It had information from anteaters to Zulus. That is, it also had from minute to major subject. It covered all. Zulus is nothing but an African ethnic group. It's from South Africa. So the books had vast knowledge. The books taught people, the books answered all WH questions of the people. For example, how to, when to, where to, why to. And they told everything. They led the people. Books were the leaders. But the strangest thing a book ever did was to save earth. But there is one thing which is very strange. Apart from answering the questions, apart from leading, the book did a very great thing, and that is it saved earth. Now we'll read and see how. The historian continues and says, oh, you haven't heard about the Martian invasion of 2040. What do they teach children nowadays? Well, the invasion never really happened because a single book stopped it. What was the book, you ask? A noble encyclopedia? A tome about rockets and missiles? A secret file from outer space? No, it was none of those. It was, but here, let me turn on the historiscope and show you what happened many centuries ago in 2040. So the historian says, okay, see, I don't think you have heard about Martian invasion, an event that happened. And then he says, he asked the audience to ask him questions or to guess how a book helped, because he said the invasion nearly happened because of a book. So he said, oh, do you think it was an encyclopedia? Do you think it was a book on rockets? Do you think it was a secret file? And continues to say, no, it was nothing. And he decides to show the audience what it was through a historiscope. Now, while checking, historiscope has two distinct meanings. Firstly, if we go for the book, for the book's sake, that is the fictional sake, it refers to a fictional augmented reality or AR device from the story, which allows users to see historical scenes, and it also refers to an actual antique 19th century Milton Bradley device used for history instruction with 25 moving images of early American history. Now, based on this chapter, we'll stick to that AR device, which is a telescopic like device which is used to go through history. She turns on projector and points it left. She is the historian. Spotlight on historian goes out and comes down left on think tank, who is seated on a raised box, arms folded, He has a huge egg-shaped head and he wears a long robe decorated with stars and circles. Apprentice Noodle stands beside him at an elaborate switchboard, a sign on a nasal read, Mars Space Control. So earlier you had seen it was written that the Museum of Ancient History, Department of the 20th Century, and now it reads Mars Space Control, and we get here two characters. Who are they? First we get Think Tank, who is seated on a raised ball, arms folded, and his head is huge like an egg, and he wears a long robe decorated with stars and circles. And we have another character who is Apprentice Noodle, who is standing beside him at an elaborate switchboard, a sign on the easel where it reads Mars Space Control. See, on the easel it's written the Mars Space Control, which means this is a play, so it's taking place in a theater, and on stage there are characters, so it is very important for the audience to recognize and relate to it. And on stage we already know there is Think Tank and Apprentice Noodle. Great and mighty Think Tank is the commander-in-chief. Noodle enters bowing. Oh, great and mighty Think Tank, most powerful and intelligent creature in the world, in the whole universe, what are your orders? So Think Tank peevishly says, or irritatingly, he is annoyed and he says, you left out part of my salutation, Apprentice Noodle. Go over the whole thing again. So Noodle, you did not introduce me properly. This is not the greeting that I expect. You have to add more to it. You left part of the salutation. So get it again. Repeat. Noodle says, it shall be done, sir. And now in a singing tone he says, O great and mighty Think Tank, ruler of Mars and her two moons, most powerful and intelligent creature in the whole universe, what are your orders? Now Think Tank says, that's better, Noodle. I wish to be placed in communication with our manned space probe to that ridiculous little planet we are going to put under our generous rulership. What do they call it again? Earth, your intelligence. So Think Tank says, see, let me communicate with our people, the manned space probe. So they are visiting the planet. They are on their way to the planet. So I want to get connected to them. And then he asks, he didn't take the planet so seriously, and he says, underestimating, he says, oh, what is it called? And Noodle says, it is called Earth. Now Think Tank said, Earth, of course. You see how insignificant the place is. But first, something important, my mirror. I wish to consult my mirror. Till here we see that Think Tank is a person or is a being who believes in flattery. He is very easily flattered and he always thinks a lot of highly of himself. He likes praises. So when Noodle makes it short, he gets annoyed and he wants Noodle to do the praising more. So he wants flattery. He is a believer in flattery. And here the discussion shows that they are on an invasion to Earth and they have sent crew there and the planet is Earth. And now Think Tank asks Noodle to hand him the mirror. So Noodle hands the mirror. He says, it shall be done, sir, and gives Think Tank a mirror. You can see in the image the Think Tank, well, he has a round head. Think Tank, mirror, mirror in my hand, who is the most fantastically intellectually gifted being in the land? Offstage voice, you, sir. So offstage voice, here this voice is of the mirror, you can say. The mirror cannot speak. The audience knows it very well. So in order to answer, there is a voice off stage. You cannot see the person. And think tank, see here also we see how he is into admiring his beauty. He says, mirror, mirror in my hand, who is the most fantastically intellectually gifted being in the land. Mirror line is very significant, and you can go it also is found in the Disney animated the movie, you see, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, where the evil queen says, magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all? And then the mirror answers. So here also think tank wants to know who is the most intelligent being in the land, that is on Mars here. They remember while reading this that they are Martians. They are not earth beings. So offstage voice says, you sir. And think tank smacking mirror, quicker. Answer quicker next time. I hate a slow mirror. Now again he admires himself in the mirror. Ah, there I am. Are we Martians not a handsome race? So much more attractive than those ugly earthlings with their tiny heads. Noodle, you keep on exercising your mind and someday you'll have a balloon brain just like mine. So think tank, while admiring himself, he says, ah, there I am. See, praising again. Are we Martians not a handsome race? Now, see, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, and beauty is a personal thought. It's fully personal. Now, the idea of beauty which I and the whole community, the whole living organization, I'll call it an organization, it includes everybody, animals, plants. Animals, they have their own definition. Plants have their own. If they see a different kind of a dog, they won't accept it. If we see a human who is not the regular kind, we won't accept. So the same thing, earthlings, for them Mars people are aliens are very beautiful. But the movies that we have seen, I don't think you like the aliens that we find there. So he says, those are ugly earthlings. They have the tiny head. See, Noodle, you keep exercising your mind. And someday you will have a balloon brain just like mine. Well, I doubt if we earthlings would love to have a balloon brain. Balloon shaped brain. Noodle, oh, I hope so, mighty think tank. I hope so. Think tank, now contact the space probe. I want to invade that primitive ball of mud called Earth before lunch. It shall be done, sir. And he adjusts levers on switchboard, electronic buzzes, and beeps are heard as the curtain opens. So the curtain opens and see, the setting is about to change and you can hear all beep sounds pressing of buttons. Now here we find two things. Firstly, no doubt, think tank thinks highly of himself, underestimates the planets and other beings also. He thinks himself to be very beautiful, very handsome, and is a great admirer of himself. Whereas Noodle, he is very clever and he knows how to impress think tank. So far, this is what we know. He is the think tank is the commander-in-chief and Noodle is the apprentice. So scene 1 took place in Mars Space Control. Now it is the time for scene 2. Scene 2. So the time in the next scene is a few seconds later after he presses the buttons and there's a contact, and the place is Mars Space Control and the Centerville Public Library. At rise, when the curtain rises, you see Captain Omega stands at center, opening and closing card catalog drawers in a confused fashion. So it's a library. You have to keep it in mind that this scene takes place at a library. And Lieutenant Iota is up left counting books in a bookcase. Sergeant Oop is at right, opening and closing a book, turning it upside down, shaking it and then ruffling the pages and shaking his head. So they are all going through the drawers and books and every other thing that are present in the library. This is what you see. This is the action. And the characters we find are Captain Omega, Lieutenant Iota and Sergeant Oop. So Noodle adjusting the knob. You see two parts, okay, divided. So Noodle at one part, which is space control, he adjusts the knobs. I have a close sighting of the space crew, sir. Think Tank puts on a pair of enormous goggles and turns towards the stage to watch. In the one part of the stage you have the library. They seem to have entered some sort of earth structure. Think Tank. Excellent! Make voice contact. Noodle, speaking into a microphone. Mars Space Control calling the crew of Probe 1. Mars Space Control calling the crew of Probe 1. Come in, Captain Omega, and give us your location. So Noodle contacts Captain Omega, the Earth crew, and asks Captain Omega to give us location. Now Omega speaking into the disc which is on a chain round her neck. So see, these are a means of communication. He has got a disc round on his chain around her neck. Captain Omega to Mars Space Control. Lieutenant Iota, Sergeant Oop and I have arrived on Earth without incident. We have taken shelter in this square place. Have you any idea where we are, Lieutenant Iota? So, Omega, Iota and Oop, they are in a place which is a library and they are on Earth. Now, Captain Omega is responding to the control station and he says, yes, 3 of us, we have arrived on Earth without incident. So, there has been no problem. We have reached safely and we have taken shelter here. And since he is confused, he asks for an answer. He says, he asks Lieutenant Iota, Iota, do you know what it is? He just informs them that this place is square in shape. So this is all he says. See, they are from Mars. Definitely they don't know everything. They are confused. You can see them lying in the library confused. Now Iota says, I can't figure it out, Captain. And he holds a book and says, I have counted 2,000 of these peculiar items. This place must be some sort of storage barn. What do you think, Sergeant Oop? So 3 of them, they are discussing amongst themselves. Oop says, I haven't a clue. I have been to 7 galaxies, but I have never seen anything like this. Maybe they are hats. So he opens a book, puts it on his head, say maybe this is a haberdashery. So maybe it's a place where stitching material, clothes and all are found, and these are racks. So he is fully confused. 3 of them, they have no idea where they are. Lieutenant confused, Sergeant confused, at the same time the captain. Everyone is confused. They are only guessing. Omega says, perhaps the great and mighty think tank will give us the benefit of his thought on the matter. Now Omega turns on to the commander-in-chief, who is think tank, and he says, I think you can enlighten us. We are confused as to where we are. Think tank, elementary, my dear Omega. Hold one of the items up so that I may view it closely. So think tank says that okay, it's very basic, just hold it properly so that I can have a good view. Omega holds the book on the palm of her hand. So Omega holds it. Yes, I understand now. Since earth creatures are always eating, the place in which you find yourselves is undoubtedly a crude refreshment stand. So he said, oh, now I understand. You see, the people of Earth, the Earthlings, they always eat. And undoubtedly, without doubt, we can say you are at a refreshment stand where there are things to be eaten. Omega to Iota and O. He says we are in a refreshment stand. Well, the Earthlings certainly have a strange diet. Think tank. That item in your hand is called a sandwich. Omega. A sandwich. Iota. A sandwich? Taking book from his head. A sandwich? So, this think tank says you are at a refreshment stand and you are holding a sandwich which has 2 layers. And all the 3 go after the same sandwich, and Oop has a question also asked questioningly, is it really a sandwich? Now think tank says sandwiches are the main staple of Earth diet. Look at it closely. Now Omega squints at both. There are 2 slices of what is called bread, and between them is some sort of filling. So think tank says, see properly, you will find two slices and that is called bread, and in between them there is some sort of filling. So think tank has an idea what a sandwich is. He knows that earthlings, they eat sandwiches on a regular basis and that it is made up of two slices and in between there is filling, but he doesn't know how a bread looks, what the filling is. Omega says, that is correct, sir. Think tank, to confirm my opinion, I order you to eat it. Now think tank said, yes, but in order to be sure that what I say is correct, you have to eat it. Now Omega, eat it? Now he is doubtful and he says, eat it? Think tank, do you doubt the mighty think tank? Oh, no, but poor Lieutenant Iota has not had her breakfast. Lieutenant Iota, I order you to eat this sandwich. Iota again doubtfully, dubiously said, eat it? Oh, Captain, it's a very great honor to be the first Martian to eat a sandwich. I'm sure, but how can I be so impolite as to eat before my sergeant? Now he hands Oop the book and says brightly, Sergeant Oop, I order you to eat the sandwich immediately. So there's a very funny thing here. They are, see, it's a rank, okay. The captain comes first, then the lieutenant, then the sergeant. So they are all passing on. Then Iota says, let sergeant eat. And Oop, who is the sergeant, he says, who? Lieutenant? Me, Lieutenant? Iota and Omega together they say, for the glory of Mars, Oop. Oop. Oh yes, of course. Immediately. And he opens his mouth wide. Omega and Iota watch him breathlessly. He bites down on one corner of the book and pantomimes chewing and swallowing while making terrible faces. So he copies how a person swallows and chews. So he shows the audience. Obviously one cannot eat a book, and it is always to be remembered, it's a stage. So he shows as if he is chewing and swallowing, and the face is terrible. Omega asks, well, Oop? Iota as well asks the same thing. Well, Oop? Oop coughs. Omega and Iota pound him on the back. So he is breathless, he is not able to swallow, and he begins to cough. And Omega, Iota, they pound him on the back. Now Think Tank asks, was it not delicious, Sergeant Oop? Now Oop saluting, he answers, that is correct, sir. It was not delicious. I don't know how the earthlings can get those sandwiches down without water. They're dry as Martian dust. Noodle, sir, great and mighty think tank. I beg your pardon, but an insignificant bit of data floated into my mind about those sandwiches. Think tank, it can be worth much, but go ahead, give us your trifling bit of data. So Noodle says, sir, I have a little idea about it. I think something floated, so I have got a little opinion. Can I? About those sandwiches. Now Think Tank, who always thinks highly of himself and that nobody is equal to him or above him, he says, it can be worth much, but go ahead, give us your bit of idea, whatever you have thought of, that unimportant, insignificant data, whatever you have, speak it. Noodle, well, sir, I have seen surveyor films of those sandwiches. I noticed that the earthlings did not eat them. They used them as some sort of communication device. Now Noodle says that whatever I have known, that the earthlings don't eat them, the sandwiches you say. They are used for some sort of communication device. Think Tank, haughtily. Naturally, haughtily is in a proud way. Naturally, as we all know, he thinks himself above everyone else. That was my next point. These are actually communication sandwiches. Think Tank is never wrong. Who is never wrong? All of them together. Great and mighty Think Tank is never wrong. Think Tank. Therefore, I order you to listen to them. Now Omega, listen to them? Iota and Oop together, puzzled. Listen to them? Think tank. Do you have marbles in your ears? I said, listen to them. He says, do you have marbles in your ears or are your ears blocked? I said, listen to them. Martians bow very low. Now Omega says, it shall be done, sir. They each take 2 books from the case and hold them to their ears, listening intently. So they try to listen carefully with full concentration. Now Iota whispers to Omega, do you hear anything? Omega whispering back, nothing. Do you hear anything? Oop, oop. Not a thing. Omega and Iota jump in fright. Omega and Iota, shh. They listen intently again. So firstly, Think Tank says it's a sandwich. Eat it. They try eat. When they didn't get any success, Noodle says, I think it's a communication device. Now Think Tank says, yes, it is. And he orders them to listen. And now they are trying to listen, but they can hear nothing. Now Think Tank says, well, report to me. What do you hear? Omega, nothing, sir. Perhaps we are not on the correct frequency. Nothing, sir. Perhaps the earthlings have sharper ears than we do, says Iota. Now Oop says, I don't hear a thing. Maybe these sandwiches don't make sounds. Think Tank, what? Does somebody suggest the mighty Think Tank has made a mistake? Omega, oh no, sir, no, sir. We'll keep listening. So nobody is at all in the capacity or in the power of going against Think Tank. He is the ruler, the commander-in-chief, and he thinks highly of himself. He admires himself, praises himself, and he will not at all tolerate himself being wrong or considered incorrect. So Omega says, no, sir, we'll keep listening. Noodle, please excuse me, your brilliance, but a cloudy piece of information is twirling round in my head. So Noodle intervenes again and he says, sir, and listen, every time he addresses Think Tank as a wise one, brilliance here. He says, see, I have a little piece of information and it's moving around in my head. If you ask me, should I? Think Tank, well, twirl it out. So Think Tank says, yes, speak out, Noodle. I'll clarify it for you. Noodle, I seem to recall that earthlings did not listen to the sandwiches. They opened them and watched them. So Noodle says, see, sir, to the best of my knowledge, they didn't listen. They open and watch. Think Tank, yes, that is quite correct. I will clarify that for you, Captain Omega. Those sandwiches are not for your communication. They are for eye communication. Now Captain Omega, take that large colorful sandwich over there. It appears to be important. Tell me what you observe. So he points at the book and says, take that large one and tell me what do you observe. Omega picks up a very large volume of Mother Goose. It's a book of nursery rhymes. Holding it so that the audience can see the title. So Iota looks over her left shoulder and Oop hears the right. So 3 of them look into the book, and that book is a volume of Mother Goose. It is a book for nursery kids. See, it appears to contain pictures of earthlings. So Omega says that it means that till now they do not know what the book is about. When they open, they see pictures. It's a nursery book of fairy tales, nursery rhymes and all. So Iota says there seems to be some sort of code. Think Tank sharply interested said, code? I told you this was important. Describe the code. So Oop says it's lines, little lines and squiggles and dots, thousands of them alongside the picture. So the one they are stating is the written lines, but they do not know how to read or how to know what they meant. So they have a little knowledge. They don't have full knowledge, which is very dangerous. So Think Tank says, perhaps the earthlings are not as primitive as we thought. We must break the code. So maybe they are not as old and ancient as we thought. Maybe they are a bit developed. So we have to break the code. Noodle, forgive me, your cleverness, But did not the chemical department give our space people vitamins to increase their intelligence? So Noodle again interrupts and says, see sir, I understand, but the chemical department of our space, they have given vitamins. So I think if they take, they will increase their intelligence. Think Tank says, stop! A thought of magnificent brilliance has come up to me. Space people, our chemical department has given you vitamins to increase your intelligence. Take them immediately and then watch the sandwich. The meaning of the code will slowly unfold before you. So he takes ideas of Noodle and presents it as his own. And he says, yes, there is a chemical department and I have thought of it. Take it and try to understand. If you take that medicine, vitamin, then the code will decipher. You will be able to unfold. Omega. It shall be done, sir. Remove vitamins. So crew takes vitamins from boxes on their belts. Present vitamins. They hold it in front of them stiffly, that is firmly. Swallow vitamin. Omega instructs and they do. Omega says it shall be done. So remove vitamin, they take it out. Present vitamins, they show. Swallow vitamins, they swallow. They pop the vitamins into their mouths and gulp simultaneously. They open their eyes wide, their heads shake and they put their hands to their forehead. So as if they are filled with some power. Now Think Tank says, excellent! Now decipher the code. So now tell me what is written there, decoded. It shall be done, sir. Together they say. They frown over the book, turning pages. Omega. Aha! Iota. Oh-ho! Oop. So bursting into laughter. Think Tank. What does it say? Tell me this instant. Transcribe. Omega? Omega. Yes, sir. So Omega, paraphrase. What is it? Omega. Yes, sir. Now she reads with great seriousness. Mistress Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow with cockle shells and silver bells and pretty maids all in a row? Imagine that, pretty maids growing in a garden. So they take it literally. Whatever they read, they understand. Everything has a literal meaning, and that is whatever is written, and a hidden meaning what you understand after you read. But when Omega reads, Mistress Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow with cockle shells and silver bells and pretty maids all in a row? Oop laughs and says, oh, imagine garden with pretty maids growing. Think Tank is alarmed, shocked and said, stop! This is no time for levity. So Think Tank says, stop it. It's no time for light-mindedness. You have to be serious. Don't lack seriousness. This is no time for levity, which is lacking seriousness. Don't you realize the seriousness of this discovery? The Earthlings have discovered how to combine agriculture and mining. They can actually grow crops of rare metals such as silver and cockle shells. They can grow high explosives too. Noodle, contact our invasion fleet. So looking at the picture where Mary is shown, where a little girl is shown flowering and there are maids growing instead of flowers and all. So he takes the picture literally. What the meaning is, what the lines, everything is taken literally. And the pictures are very important for him. He says, yes, can't you see? They are growing shells and you can't see they are growing maids also, high explosives also. So contact our invasion fleet. Noodle, they are all ready to go down and take over Earth. So Think Tank says, contact them, the one who are going to invade Earth. Tell them. And Noodle says they are ready to go down and take over. Think Tank, tell them to hold. So ask the fleet to stop. They tell them the new information has come to us about Earth. Iota, transcribe. So he says, ask the fleet, invasion fleet to stop. Tell them new information has come. And then he asks Iota, transcribe. Iota says, yes sir. Now she reads another one. She reads, hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle. The cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon. So Oop again says, the dish ran away with the spoon. You can see Oop is always light-minded. That is, he never takes things seriously here. You may say he's a fun-loving person, and after reading this, he laughs. But always remember the go with the picture. In the picture, you can see the cow jumping, the dish running with a spoon, the cat playing the fiddle, the dog laughing. So when Iota reads, "Hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon, the little dog laughed to see such sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon." At that moment, so now Think Tank says, "Cease laughter, so stop laughing. Desist." Desist means to stop doing something. So Think Tank says, "Cease laughter. Desist. This is more and more alarming. The Earthlings have reached a high level of civilization. Didn't you hear? They have taught their domesticated animals musical culture and space techniques. Even their dogs have a sense of humor. Why, at this very moment, they may be launching an interplanetary attack of millions of cows. Notify the invasion fleet. No invasion today. Whoop, transcribe the next code." So Think Tank is horrified and he says, "See, even the cattle, they know how to do things. So maybe they are already beginning for an interplanetary attack. Maybe they are about to attack us. So ask the fleet to stop, to cancel, not to go today." Now he says, "Oop, transcribe the next code." Now Oop says, "Yes sir." Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men cannot put Humpty Dumpty together again. "Oh look sir, here's the picture of Humpty Dumpty." "Why sir, he looks like turns large picture of Humpty Dumpty towards Think Tank and the audience. "Who do you think Humpty Dumpty looks like?" "It is Think Tank, the egg-shaped head." So when Oop reads, "Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men cannot put Humpty Dumpty together again." And he says, "See sir, who does he look like?" Now Think Tank is horrified, petrified and says, screaming and holding his head, shouts, "It's me! It's my great and mighty balloon brain! The Earthlings have seen me and they are after me! Had a great fall! That means they plan to capture Mars Central Control and me! It's an invasion of Mars! Noodle, prepare a space capsule for me! I must escape without delay. Space people, you must leave Earth at once. But be sure to remove all traces of your visit. The Earthlings must not know that I know." So he says, "Noodle, I have to leave this place. Get me a space capsule. And all people, those who are on Earth, 3 of you, return and remove every trace of your visit. Do not let the Earthlings know that we know about them and they are after me. So they must not know that I know about it, about their invasion." Now Noodle, "Where shall we go, sir?" Oop, Iota and Omega, they all put books and are ready to return. And Noodle asks them, Think Tank, "Where shall we go, sir?" Think Tank, 100 million miles away from Mars. Order the invasion fleet to evacuate the entire planet of Mars. We are heading for Alpha Centauri, 100 million miles away. So Think Tank says, "We can't stay here anymore. They are after us. They will reach us. They are planning an invasion. Every Martian must leave. And we shall go for Alpha Centauri, 100 million miles away. So we'll leave this place and we go to some other place." Omega, Iota and Oop run off right as Noodle helps Think Tank off left and the curtain closes. Spotlight shines on Historian downright. So as I have told you before, it's a stage and now it was divided to 2 parts. The light plays a very important role. When Think Tank speaks, the light is on him. When the library people speak, it's on them. And now after the play is over with the characters, the spotlight shines on the Historian down right. Remember, the first scene over, the second scene over, and now we go for the Historian again. Historian says, chuckling, laughing, he says, and that's how one dusty old book of nursery rhymes saved the world from a Martian invasion. As you all know, in the 25th century, 500 years after all this happened, we Earthlings resumed contact with Mars, and we even became friendly with the Martians. By that time, great and mighty think tank had been replaced by a very clever Martian, the wise and wonderful Noodle. Oh yes, we taught the Martians the difference between sandwiches and books. We taught them how to read too, and we established a model library in their capital city of Marsopolis. But as you might expect, there is still one book that the Martians can never bring themselves to read. You have guessed it, Mother Goose. She bows and exits, right. So introduction is done by the historian. It is she who introduces and now she who closes or ends it, and he says that yes, 25th century, after so many years, 500 years, we are in contact with Mars and we have a friendly relationship, but we taught them everything but not about the book, which is Mother Goose. Why? For their safety. She bows and exits. So now she leaves the stage and we know the play is over. See, a little learning is a very dangerous thing. And yes, there was a chapter, Question of Trust. There also he gathered every information about the house but not the occupants or the owner and all. That is why he fell into trouble. Here also the same thing happened. Martians didn't have full idea. So historian began the play and it is the historian who ends it. Let's see some of the word meanings. Easel is wooden frame to support a blackboard or a picture, usually used by artists. Zulus is an African ethnic group belonging to South Africa. Historiscope, a fictional device used to view historical events. Apprentice, a trainee. Peevishly, irritably. Riffling, quickly turning over the pages of a book. Barn, covered building for storing hay. Haberdashery, shop which sells clothing, small articles of dress, pins, cottons. Squiggles, scrawls or illegible writing or markings. Decipher, find the meaning of something which is puzzling or difficult to understand. Transcribe, write in full form or shorthand. Levity, tendency to treat serious matters without respect or lack of seriousness. Tomb is a large heavy book. Salutation, a greeting. Probe, an exploratory mission or device. Insignificant, unimportant or trivial. Some other word meanings. Haughtily, in an arrogantly or superior manner. Pantomime, act without speaking. Desist, stop or cease. Evacuate, leave or remove from a place of danger. Resume, start again after a pause. Establish, set up or found. Cockle shells, small heart-shaped shells. Interplanetary, between planets. Domesticated, tame and kept as a pet or on a farm. Capsule, a small container, here referring to a space vehicle. Chuckling, laughing quietly. Earthlings in science fiction, a word used by aliens to refer to an inhabitant of the earth. Marsopolis, a fictional capital city of Mars. Beside you can see the picture of haberdashery. You can see clothes, sewing, pins and all. So this looks more or less like the library they had been to, where you have racks and all. So these are some of the meanings. For more such videos, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. If you have any doubts, you can always use the comment section. Thank you for watching.